What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Popculture AF. I'm Andrew.
I'm Fabio.
I'm Julian.
So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about Spider-Man. It's a Spider-Man related episode today.
Yeah.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to look at all 10 Spider-Man films. And then we're going to categorize them in our own little ranking system of underrated, overrated, overhated, and properly rated.
Yeah. So for those of you guys who want a little more clarification about that, underrated basically means that film didn't get as much attention as it deserves. Like it's a movie that's way better than people give it credit for. Overrated means the exact opposite. That film got way more praise than it actually deserves, and it's not as good as people think. Overhated means that film gets way more hate than it actually deserves, and it's not as bad as most people think it is. Properly rated basically just means that the film gets the appropriate rating, bad or good, that it received. All right, so here we go. We're going to go in order of release of the Spider-Man films. To start us off with the OG, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man 2002. So the Rotten Tomatoes score for this one. Critics, 90%, audience, 67. So what do you think, guys?
Let's.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll go
Don't
first. I'll
matter.
go first.
All right, Julie.
You go first?
Julie,
This is
okay.
about the first Tobey movie?
The first Tobey Maguire movie, yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, where put it as properly rated. Just because, like, there's no. It's just the how the critics reviewed it, and there's no problems with the Tobey movie. That's why. So, like, I just put it at properly rated. I'm not gonna lie.
Fair enough. What do you think, man?
I'm gonna go properly rated as well. It was definitely a film that is that impacted my childhood. I was in the theater when it came out back then in 2002, so I was in the movie theaters when this film came out, and it was just one of those moments where I was in awe of the experience of seeing Spider-Man on the big screen. So I would say it's appropriately rated. It was definitely revolutionary for with the effects and just the characters, and it was just overall it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a fun movie. You're gonna have a good time watching it. And I think that was the key is that it was a good time. And just to let's face it, it's Spider-Man on the big screen for the first time. So
Yeah.
you can't really, it can't really, it leaves its mark in film history with that.
I think we're in the same camp on this one because I also put it as appropriately rated. I also watched it in theaters, and yeah, man, my God, it really, despite the fact this film came out in 2002, it really felt like it was harkening back to and the simpler times of like the 60s, 70s era of Spider-Man, despite it being taking place in like modern day, well, quote unquote modern day at the time, and like just the vibe of it all, of it, like the colors, the music, everything about it just felt so like nostalgic.
Definitely.
Like even I felt nostalgic watching it, even though it was happening in real time.
In real time.
And it's like now even more so. Now I'm nostalgic for it as well. But like, yeah, no, it's this film is as well the love that it gets and the criticisms that it gets is all fair for this one.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I love that intro as soon as it starts, like the
Yeah.
intro music. I was like,
So,
oh, get
Andrew
goosebumps.
Andrew told me this that I did not know, but when he's sketching out his costume ideas, you hear the '90s riff, like a little bit of
Yes.
it. Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. The scene when he's sketching the costume, you hear it very faintly in the background. I showed Julian the other day
Yeah.
that scene. I was like, if you really if you really pay attention, it's a blink and you'll miss it moment.
Right. If you're not paying attention to like, you're not going to hear it unless you're like really listening out for it.
I did not hear it when I first watched the film, or multiple times when I watched the film. To be honest,
That's
it
pretty
took me
sick.
like a minute to lock in. But yeah.
Definitely.
All right. So we're all in the same camp with this one. All right. So next
Yep.
one, Spider-Man 2, critic score 93%, audience score 82. So what we think? Want to go in the same order?
Same one.
All right. Hey, Julian, take us up.
Properly rated.
Properly
I mean,
rated too?
it's the best Tobey movie out of the three. So like, just properly rated. There's nothing wrong with it.
Fair enough. All right. And
So for me, I will also be putting it in properly rated as well. I actually think it's a slightly better film than the original, than the first one. I just think they just attack concepts of the the burden of being Spider-Man on this one and how
Yeah.
difficult it is and how much it's impacting his life, you know, and it takes a toll on his life. And you get to see, you know, friends become enemies and like, you know, you get to see different concepts happen. His life gets better not being Spider, like his social life and his school life, like everything, like, you know, and his everything outside of being Spider-Man got better when he wasn't Spider-Man.
Yeah, but like that's the sacrifice. The fact that
Sacrifice.
like he knows that his life would be so much better if he took out being Spider-Man, but at the same time I like the film addressed that like when he stopped being Spider-Man, crime went up.
Crime went up.
Yes.
So yeah, so you know you know, the urge of responsibility, you know, had to resurface again.
Yeah.
You know, and it just and that whole concept of him losing his powers and everything like that was interesting.
Mhm.
It was a different take on why he was losing it, you know, and I like that again. It's all in here, right? It's all in the mind,
I like
you
that
know.
they
So
put
it's very, very interesting.
wait, is it Spider-Man No More? That comic line?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, Spider-Man No More. And then when he puts the suit in the trash can.
Yeah.
yeah, iconic shot. They recreated it,
Yep.
you know. But I love the idea of like you know friends turning enemies in this one.
Fair enough. All right. So I agree with all you guys. I agree that it for sure is the best of the Tobey Maguire films.
Yes,
And it does all those things and more. It does a great job of addressing the responsibility and the sacrifice having to be Spider-Man. But I feel like I put in the overrated camp.
whoa,
The only
Whoa!
reason for this is because I think that people like to kick into this as like the Godfather of like the Godfather Part 2 of like superhero movies. I'm like, I don't know if I would put it that high up. It's really good. I loved it, but upon rewatching it again, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if this holds up as well as I remember it in terms of the effects. Which again, that's not the movie's like over 20 years old at this point. It's like, but at the same time, it's like some of it does kind of take me out of it because it's like I see better effects of this like on like House of the Dragons. It's like which is it's like that's it's like that's a TV show now.
yeah.
So it's like so that kind of does, and also the fact that like I love all the things they did with Spider-Man character. I love the fact that he was like losing his powers because of the mind and everything. I think on its own, it does stand a really good job as like as its own movie. It does a great job of showcasing the sacrifice Spider-Man, but I feel like people maybe sing its praises just a little too much. They put it too much on a high horse. Where I'm like, yes, it's great. I don't know if it's like the peak, take creme de la creme of all like the Spider-Man movies.
Oh my God.
So I make it to me for that, but that's my
So,
thing. That's my thing.
That's
Well,
the hot
just
take
for
of
the
day.
record, and for the record, we don't know each other's lists.
Yeah, no.
So
my
that
thing
is
is
genuine
be-
reaction when we get these surprises along the way. We don't know our
Crazy
list
hot
throughout
take.
this whole thing.
Yeah. All right, going to the third one. Spider-Man 3, critics score 62%, audience score 51%.
Okay, Julian, you're up.
So
Yeah.
I put it as overrated just because Spider-Man 3 is solely good just because of the memes. You know, with Billy McGuire, Billy McGuire dancing in the street and all that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I feel like it's only great just because of the memes, and I feel like the only good storyline is the Sandman storyline. You know, it was a lot of stuff happening in Spider-Man 3. You know, Venom wasn't even supposed to be in it, but he somehow was in it. It was just out of place. And then, you know, Mary Jane being a bitch again. You know, it just keeps on
She
going, you know.
was irritated.
Yeah.
Irritated, and then yeah, put it as overrated, you know. But you can rewatch it a lot. It's funny to rewatch, but yeah.
True. Yeah, I'm gonna put it also as properly rated. 62%, 51%. So it's kind of split down the middle.
Yeah.
You know, it's a split down the middle film. Okay. I consider this a guilty pleasure film for me.
Fair enough.
You know, I saw it in the theaters as well, just like, you know, I mean, also Spider-Man 2 I saw in the theaters as well. But
Yeah.
I saw Spider-Man 3 in the theater as well, but my expectations were high.
Because of the second.
Because of the
second
second
one was so good, and
Yeah.
it set up such a good movie.
Yes, it set up a potential good movie, and I overall did not think it was a good movie. I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. It has a lot of flaws. And a lot of the topics that Julian has said are the reasons why. You know, the whole Venom, story arc, all this stuff. It was
Sam
overly
Raimi did.
crowded.
That was the studios forced Sam Raimi to put that in there.
Yeah, it was a whole studio interference problem, and it really like took away from the film itself. And I didn't mind like the black suit storyline without Venom in it. That could have been a great
Yeah.
post-credit scene or something.
Yeah, they could have set up Venom for like the next film.
Yeah, for the next film or some sort, something like that. But I would say I put it under, properly rated, and it is what it is. And there's reason why there's not a Spider-Man 4,
Yeah.
So,
I, I got something. I got something to share.
Yeah.
I feel like if Sony produced a Spider-Man 4, that would save the Toby set of films.
Yeah,
Have they gone through with it?
have they gone through with it, or if they
No.
do it now?
To be honest, they could do both. To be honest, I don't mind a Spider-Man 4 Toby movie
Me neither.
right
At this
now.
day and age, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be opposed to that. No.
You could
I wouldn't
focus
mind
on.
it either.
You could put him as like an older Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I could see them doing like an old. They're doing like how they did Logan. If they do like
Yes.
old man Spider-Man, like but with Toby in the role, maybe in a couple years they can do that. Like just go back to the Toby verse
Yeah.
and just see like his life
A
as
Toby Spider-Man in his 50s?
yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
They don't do it too much. They don't focus on that part of his life too much.
They really
Pretty cool.
don't. Because the thing with Spider-Man, he's always been like they keep like rebooting him. Like they let him go into high school, go to college, and then stay in post-college for a little bit, but they don't let him go beyond that. They don't let him go beyond his 20s.
And I feel like following that storyline would show us. I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys
with his
seen
daughter.
the concept
He has a
art.
daughter.
Yeah, he has a daughter now, so like we know that's confirmed. So like
I
that
don't
would
know
be
if you-
cool.
I don't know if you guys seen the concept art of Spider-Man 4. It's like on YouTube. You guys should watch it after this. But there's like an art scene of him fighting Vulture. It looks peak.
Okay.
Send it to me later.
I would.
I'll send it over to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So for me, this is Spider-Man 3. See, it's interesting that we have like a disconnect here from the generations because I feel like Julian's generation, maybe the younger ones, actually do like Spider-Man 3 more so than because when I was watching when it first came out, the initial reception of it hated it. Everybody hated this movie so much, which is why I put it in the overhated for ranking for me.
Hated.
It's overhated because, and in my eyes, most people, at least from my generation, really did not like Spider-Man 3 because, like you said, it's the one that killed the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, and unfortunately, properly so because it did do a lot of it. It didn't fulfill the expectations that we had coming off of Spider-Man 2. That being said, I think it gets a little too much hate because of all the good things that you mentioned, Julian. Like, there is some good moments. It's like, yeah, there's some memes in there, but there also is some pretty good storylines. Like, the storyline with Sandman, that's actually pretty solid. The Black Suit storyline, minus Venom, was pretty decent as well. Like, there's enough in there that I feel like it doesn't deserve, like, the hate that it gets. Like, I'm not sure if they really agree with the audience score of 51%. People are a little too harsh on it.
And it's just kind of crazy, like, just hearing what you said, like it bugs me out that without Venom.
Yes.
You would think a movie Spider-Man versus Venom would be like peak cinema.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why like that should have been its own movie. Like
Yeah.
they could have had the Black Suit storyline and then set up Venom for the fourth film.
It's crazy.
Instead
so
of Venom, they should have had Lizard. Just because Dr. Connors is in Spider-Man 3. Just if you want to add another villain, just add Lizard, bro.
I mean, they were setting him up too.
Yeah,
like,
they
for
were.
that. They incorporated him in the second one, and he was featured in the third. So like, he definitely was going to be a Spider-Man villain at some point.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, man. So here we go. We are done with the Tobyverse, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films. Moving on to Andrew Garfield, The Amazing Spider-Man. Critic score 71%, audience score 77. What we thinking?
At first I put it as overrated, but like after you put the ratings, I think I'll move it to properly rated.
Okay, properly rated.
Yeah. With the first Andrew movie, I'm trying to remember if there's any problem. In my opinion, I don't see any problems with it. I feel like the only problem was his dad's storyline that they kind of enforced in the first one and then continue to enforce in the second one. But yeah, his relationship with Gwen is the best relationship out of any Spider-Man. Even his relationship with Aunt May is up there too. Yeah, the villain isn't even bad either. Just with his movies, they kind of rush things a lot. So yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair. I have The Amazing Spider-Man in the underrated category.
Okay.
Okay. And the reason why I did that was because it was a rebooted Spider-Man fresh out of a couple years after Toby.
Yeah.
So it was like a new Spider-Man to embrace. You know what I mean? And it's a different take. It's a little
Yeah,
darker.
it is.
You know what I mean? It's a little darker, and that might not resonate with everyone. You know what I mean? The performances are great. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man's great. And him as Peter and as Spider-Man.
Hmm.
It's a different kind of Peter Parker too.
Yeah.
He's not, it's like a
He's way too
like
cool to be Peter Parker. Dude's
yeah.
running around with a skateboard. Like,
Yeah,
bro,
he's
why
like
are
a
you gonna do
cool Peter
That
Parker.
was something that people were saying, kind of going against. But like Peter Parker's supposed to be a nerd. Like this guy's not a nerd.
Yeah, he's not really nerdy.
I mean, he is a nerd in that he's
Yeah,
smart and that
Right.
he's into photography and like he's into like these like tech
He's a
stuff.
different kind of nerd.
But like yeah, like he's a different. He's
I
not
guess
like
a modern.
he was a modern nerd. Yeah, that's what he
Yeah,
was. Yeah,
yeah, like a modern nerd. So I put it
but
under
modern nerds are cool. That's the problem.
right, exactly. You know what I mean? So, that's why I put an underrated category because it was a different take on the
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
And I don't know if people were ready for it yet,
Hmm.
but the concepts that they had there were also kind of interesting with the genetic stuff and
Yeah.
with spiders and all this
I actually like
stuff.
it.
So I like they did touch upon subjects that didn't touch upon before.
Yes, which I appreciated.
But I just think that, because it was a different take, I don't know if the world was ready yet,
Hmm.
for a new Spider-Man at the time, fresh out of Tobey Maguire's, like
Yeah.
another Spider-Man. We just had three Spider-Man movies
Yeah.
and another Spider-Man, so that's why I put it under underrated.
Fair enough.
Something
I
to
also
add.
put it. Yeah.
His suit is so underrated. I don't care what nobody says. The yellow
Yes, his
lens
suit
is
is
so
underrated
peak,
too.
and the fact that he
I
moves like a spider too.
Yes,
Like,
that's true. That's why that I got it in the underrated camp because of the exact same reasons that you mentioned too about like it being a different take, but also I really love the way watching a way that Andrew Garfield Spider-Man fights. He moves like a spider using the webbing and stuff. Which another thing I want to touch upon is the fact that he has web shooters.
Yes.
I think the
that's
web shooters are such a good way of showcasing how smart Spider-Man is as a character because he doesn't get that. Granted, although it would make sense that he would have like organic web shooters, like that's like the Tobey Maguire verse, but I like the web shooters because it showcases that Peter's smart. This is something he got completely separated from the spider bite. This is just an additional thing that he made himself. And it's so cool that he has that. And also, it added an extra layer of tension in some fights because the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, especially in this one, he runs out of webbings constantly. And when he
Yes.
does, he has to think on his feet, like, okay, I got to use the whatever's in my surrounding area to figure out way out of this situation, which I love that. I love we get to see him use his intelligence, him use strategies outside of that. And it's like, so I think it put in the underrated camp because of that reason, because of the fact that it was a new take that people may not have been ready for yet, a modern take at the time, and but I feel like Andrew Garfield did it was a good choice for Spider-Man. I think he did a really good job of showcasing the humor, which I think Tobey Maguire kind of lacked a little bit.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire got the nerdy part of Peter Parker, but Andrew Garfield got the humor of Spider-Man like
Yeah.
down
Spider-Man.
pat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Heck
Absolutely
yeah.
agree with that.
All right.
Definitely.
All right, Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2. All right, critic score. Oh boy. 50%. Audience score 64. I think this is the lowest rated Spider-Man movie.
Yes.
I put it as overhated.
Overhated. Ooh,
The
okay.
Interesting.
movie is so overhated. The only problems is the Green Goblin and the Electro. I feel like, but other than the villains being bad, you see more of his relationship with Gwen, which was
Mhm.
peak, and then you see him struggling with. Well, there's like there's a scene after Amazing Spider-Man 2 that they deleted, but like it's him when his dad came back.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if you guys saw that. He's like yelling at
Yeah.
him and
Hmm.
shit.
Hmm.
In the cemetery.
I feel like
Saw that, yeah.
even though I hated that they enforced, him being his dad being in the movies, I feel like they should have kept that. It really it shows that Spider-Man could struggle. So yeah, I put it as overrated, pretty
Okay.
peak. I remember in 2014, me, Drew, and our dad going to watch that. I remember walking out of that theater thinking, "Oh my gosh, best Spider-Man I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think the audience agreed with you on that one.
But that's why I like these lists because they're all different.
It's your own opinion, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. But that
Yeah,
was
that's
what
it. You know,
I grew
Andrew
up.
Garfield's is Julian Spider-Man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
That's my
That's the Spider-Man he
boy.
grew up.
exactly. Yeah.
His suit was peak, by the way.
I
Best
love
suit.
that suit.
I feel like I feel like the Amazing Spider-Man, that suit was underrated, and I feel like the best looking suit was probably the one in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
agree with
his
you.
looks like the one from Ultimate, which is so cool.
It does.
Yeah. All right, what do you got? What do you rate? What do you put it at?
So I put the Amazing Spider-Man 2 as properly rated because it is down the middle as well.
Yeah.
They have they have good aspects of the film, and they have bad ones too. You know, the film is way too overcrowded with too many storylines.
Oh.
Too many storylines. Pick a
that's true.
direction and stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and commit to it to the best you can. You know, watching The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is also a guilty pleasure. Like I could put it on right now and enjoy the film, and have a good time watching it.
Yeah.
But I don't turn away from the fact that, it's just too much going on.
Mm-hmm.
Too many storylines going on. You feel like you're watching like three Spider-Man movies, maybe even four Spider-Man movies in one. And that killed, the future of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
Unfortunately.
And I wanted to see where this version of Andrew Garfield Spider-Man would have gone. I would have loved to see his take on like the black suit. You know what I mean? There's a lot of ways they could have went about it with him, going forward. And the Sinister Six, we had a chance to possibly see that. There was
No
definitely a lot of
movie. They're
storylines
supposed to
being
make a
set.
Sinister Six movie. Oh my god. Kind
They
of happy
were
they didn't
supposed to
go
make a
through
Sinister
that.
Six movie, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of ways that this was supposed to go.
Yeah.
But I just think that it was just too much going. The performances are great. The relationship, with Gwen was great. All that stuff. The action was pretty fun. Soundtrack was great.
Oh
Yo,
yeah, soundtrack
best
sounds
soundtrack in any Spider-Man movie. I don't care what nobody
I
says.
love Electro's like theme. Whenever he was coming on the scene, like it's like, oh, this is sick. I like this.
It's sick. You know what I mean? Like, it was pretty sick. So it does have redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
But I think it's properly rated because down the middle, I can understand why people did extremely dislike it. I can see why people do like it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with properly rated.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that one. I also put it as properly rated because, it is kind of down the middle. I can see why it is like the lowest ranked Spider-Man film. Because, there are a number of problems with this film. It was trying to do way too much, because keeping in mind that this movie came out off the movie The Avengers and things like that. So like the Avengers, the cinematic universe was really popping off. So Sony was like, let's get in on that. Let's make our own Spider-Man. It's like multiverse. Which, to be fair, they have it's like they have enough characters to make a whole universe about Spider-Man films. Unfortunately, they were using the Amazing Spider-Man 2 as a vehicle for that, and they incorporated way too much in it, setting up way too many movies in the future that the movie got way too overcrowded to the point where like people are like, I just want to watch a good Spider-Man movie. I don't want to watch a movie that's setting up a bunch of other stuff.
I'm also gonna throw in too. The trailers did not help the film.
Oh God, no! Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
I don't
There
remember
was like
trailers.
5 trailers to
Like,
this.
I think someone back then when it was coming out, someone took the 10-minute opening and all the other trailers and TV spots, put them together. They were able to like puzzle piece the movie together without having seen the movie.
Without seeing the movie. You could watch the movie in about 15 minutes to 20 minutes and watch the whole movie.
From beginning to end.
With the trailers.
Even the final shot of him going against Rhino, like that's the final shot of the trailer, that's the final shot of the movie. Like you could see the entire movie.
That did not help the film.
No, because now at that point, like, why would I need to pay a ticket? I just saw the movie.
And if you notice though, like I feel like after that, they don't, like films kind of cut back on trailers. You know what I mean? Like maybe no more than 3 trailers.
Yeah.
There were like 4 or 5 trailers.
There was too many trailers. It's
and
like,
not including TV spots.
Yeah.
Like you can literally watch the whole movie through the trailers.
Yeah, that was a problem.
That did not help them at all.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Any final words? We good to move on to the next one?
Yep.
All right. So, Andrew Garfield, sorry, buddy, you only got 2 movies. Still love you, though, buddy. All right, next we have Spider-Man: Homecoming. We were in the Tom Holland movies. Critic score 92%, audience score 87%. All right, Julian, what do we think?
Put it as underrated because I remember when Homecoming first came out and it was like 50-50 split about Homecoming just because of him being like another Iron Man saving his ass all the time. But after rewatching it, I appreciated it more. But yeah, I feel like is there any bad? I feel like the only bad area about Homecoming is Vulture. I fucking hated Vulture as a villain.
Really?
You didn't like Michael Keaton's Vulture?
I did not like Michael Keaton's Vulture.
Interesting.
Wow, why not?
I just didn't like him. I just didn't like him as Vulture. There's no like reason. I just didn't like him as Vulture. I'll say that him holding up the Staten Island ferry was so tough.
It was.
That was a great scene.
Yeah.
So for me, I also put it as properly rated.
Okay.
It was, Spider-Man's debut into the MCU, and you felt that.
Yes.
For me, you felt that. You felt like he is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe where he belongs.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel different. It felt overall kind of consistent.
Yeah.
With the MCU at the time.
Yeah.
The beginning threw me off a little bit with the timeline a little bit.
Oh, I'll talk about that. Wait, do you mind if I mention that a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, so like in the beginning of that movie, where like Adrian Toomes is in his like construction, like his workers are there at the Avengers battle after the Battle of New York.
Battle of New York.
Yeah, and then they cut 8 years later. Yeah, there was an issue with that Sony kind of messed up because they didn't factor in the fact that like, wait, at the time when this movie came out, it was 8 years after Iron Man,
right?
Not 8 years after the Avengers battle. It's just like, and there were so many people trying to figure out how the timeline could work for making that happen. Like, it's like, wait, I thought these events happened. Like, no, but there was a gap of time between Iron Man and Iron Man 2. Because Iron Man 2 and Thor and Hulk all happened in the same week and then followed by Avengers. But there's a gap of time in between the movies of Iron Man 2. So, like, it didn't come out. The 8 years does not work. And then after all those people trying to make it happen and try to make sense of it, Sony just comes out and says, oh, no, we messed up. That was our bad. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So like that part, I was like, huh?
It's like, y'all are a major studio. You didn't think to like fact check this with them first?
Exactly.
For sure.
So that part was a little weird. But outside of that, it felt like, like where Spider-Man actually belonged.
Yes.
And I did like Michael Keaton as Vulture because he represented the working man's struggles.
Yes.
And when a working man is being, taken advantage of by, the man, if you will.
Yeah.
The
power for the ones on the top.
The power, the people up top, people in power up top does push them to do things that they didn't, expect to do.
Exactly.
He represents, the struggle of the everyday person.
Yeah.
And they resorted to villainy to provide for their family and things of that nature. So that's why I did like Michael Keaton's Vulture. So, and also I liked, like the innocence of Peter Parker in this one because he is young.
Yes.
He's young here. He's just fresh out of meeting, members of the Avengers.
Yeah.
He's excited to be Spider-Man. He's very eager to be an Avenger and, he
prove
himself. We've all had, that time in our lives where we're trying to prove ourselves and try to, find our place in the world too. So that's why, I agree that I think this film is popular rated and it was fun. It was fun at the end of the day, which like the most important part for me was fun.
Yeah.
The Ned scene of him helping Spider-Man and the teacher walked in, he's like, oh yeah, I'm watching porn. That's a top five.
So fun.
Oh my god, that was really funny.
That was
hilarious.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I will talk about it for Homecoming. So like for me, I put that also in the underrated camp, like Julian did, because I feel like a lot of people had such expectations for this film, and a lot of people who were criticizing it were upset because the film didn't meet what they were expecting Spider-Man to be. And I don't think that's really fair. You can't judge a movie for what it is, and you got to judge a movie for what it is. And what it is was Spider-Man in the MCU. And I love the fact that they did so many callbacks, so many references to other MCU films in this movie because they made the Marvel Cinematic Universe feel alive. It made it feel like he wasn't just isolated, like this is Spider-Man's world and just his characters and nobody else. Like no, like he's part of a much bigger universe, and so we get to see that, and I love to see that. And I think there's one scene that really stuck with me, and I think the fact that they casted someone as young as Tom Holland, because keep in mind, Tom Holland was about 18 when they casted him, and he was 19 when they filmed this. So he was this is the first time we've actually had a Spider-Man be played by an actual teenager.
Right.
So like that scene where like he's fighting Adrian Toomes and he's under the rubble and like it's like
Yes.
and he's crying, calling out for help. I feel like that scene hits more because he's so young, because he looks like a kid. I don't think if Tobey or Andrew's Spider-Man did that, it wouldn't
sit well.
It wouldn't be because there were two dudes in their 20s.
Right.
So like it's like it's like you're a grown man. What are you doing crying about right now? It's
Yeah,
like,
he begged for help because his youth kicked in.
exactly. In that moment, it hit me like, oh my god, if you're just a 15-year-old kid and you think you're gonna die right here with no one ever knowing what happened to you.
Yeah.
And it's like that hit me right there. I've been seeing him like triumph over that and just building himself up. It's like that was an inspiring moment too.
That was.
Like
I agree
yeah.
with you.
And it's like so like I think it's underrated. I feel like people are missing out on too many of the good things it is because they're too focused on like what they didn't get from the Spider-Man movie instead of what they did get.
Absolutely. I agree.
Big comic callback too with him trying to pick up the rubble.
Yeah.
And you get to see how strong Spider-Man is.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. People were commenting like saying that it's like wow, you forget how strong Spider-Man actually is because constantly he's holding back against his villains.
Yeah, he's got the powers of the gods, man. He's a very powerful character.
Oh my god! Yeah, like when Otto Octavius got into Spider-Man into Peter Parker's head when Superior Spider-Man, and he just blew up a dude's head by punching him in the face, and he's like, "Oh my god, he's been holding back on us this whole time."
Yep, it's freaking awesome.
It's like All right, next one we have. Okay, here we go. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Critic score 97%, audience score 93. The highest rated Spider-Man movie to date. Julian, what do you think?
Properly rated, I think it's the best Spider-Man movie ever. It's so peak. I think I like it so much just because I relate to Miles Morales a lot. You know, his features of being Hispanic, plays in that. And all of his movies are just fun. Fun. The animation is peak. The villains are good. Yeah, Kingpin, really good villain. All the supporting cast too was Noir, Penny, Peter B. Parker. Peter Porker. they're all pretty good and makes it really really good. And there's a lot of sad moments in that movie too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
sure.
Yeah, it's number one. Yeah,
it's number one for a reason.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. And what do you think?
So I'm gonna put Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse at properly rated as well.
Okay.
I think that movie caught me by surprise. We saw it in theaters together.
We did, yeah.
We saw it together, and it just caught me by surprise. I didn't know what I was gonna go into. I went in there completely kind of blind.
Yeah.
And it was a hell of an experience in that theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little older, so we're older now. We're in our 30s now.
Yeah.
So when I watch a cartoon film, an animated film, I enjoy them. I still watch them, but this was the only animated film in recent times that gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
It gave me legit goosebumps. It was aura, it truly was a love letter to the character of Spider-Man.
Yes.
And you're gonna find something in that film that you're gonna love.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the animation, the characters were done. It was a good movie. It's irrelevant that it was animated. It was a good movie.
Yes.
It was good character development. It was just, the soundtrack was great. The action was great.
God, the soundtrack was so good.
The animation was revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
Different animation styles.
It changed the animation game. Ever since Spider-Verse came out, so many animated films have been like mimicking that style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Winning
Yeah.
Oscars.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
winning Oscars. Like they like these movies take a while to be made, but you can see why.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie is just utter perfection. And it put Miles Morales even more on the map, and he is respected as Spider-Man in his own right.
Yeah.
And they didn't make him necessarily better than Peter Parker, but I wouldn't argue with you if you say he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a Peter Parker guy all the way, but if you were to tell me Miles Morales is better, I wouldn't even argue with you.
It's like for you, if he's better,
He's earned.
Get it.
He's earned. Miles Morales has earned the title of Spider-Man.
I think people
You
forget
know?
how strong he is. He could turn
Yeah.
invisible, and he has electric powers, and he has the same powers as Spider-Man that like he could hold back. Dude
exactly.
He
could do
became
some damn
super
damage.
popular now, and it
Yeah.
does resonate with me. Coming from Puerto Rican culture and
Mhm.
stuff like that. It is kind of funny that his mother looks like my mom.
She does. She
Yo,
does
like,
actually.
it's so funny.
Put some glasses on her, like that's your mom.
Yeah, it looks just like my mother. It's really funny, So, but yes, it was definitely a phenomenal film, properly rated.
All right. For me, I say it's underrated.
Underrated. This is interesting.
Because people look down on that movie because it's animated. I was teaching when I teach
Fair point.
when I teach in high school, I teach the hero's journey. So many of my students look down on this movie before I start bringing it up because they automatically were turned off by it because animation. Because they're teenagers, are like, nah, I don't want to watch cartoons. I want to see real people. Like that's more adult to me. And I think like that sort of mindset really is limiting people because you're cutting out a whole genre of films, and this one especially because to me this is the best. If you want to see a Spider-Man movie that shows you what it means to be Spider-Man, this is what I would show them. This is the movie that definitely shows you what it means to be a Spider-Man, what it means to have great power and great responsibility. And on top of that, I love the fact that because it follows the hero's journey. Because like I don't know if you guys are familiar, but it's Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey. There's many different steps to it. I love using this movie to teach it because it follows it to a T. Everything, beat by beat, in order. And it does it so well. And I love that. And I love the fact that the kids can see those moments of like him, like the crossing the threshold, the death of the mentor. It's like refusal of a call to adventure, refusal of a call, all those things. It's in this film. And I love that. And so like I feel like it's underrated for me because I feel like, yes, here we are singing all its praises because we like Spider-Man. We like these movies. I feel like if you're just a general audience member who's not super into these films, you're not going to want to see this because it's animated. You immediately think it's lesser than the other live action films because it's animated. And I'm here to tell you, get rid of that mindset. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is, for me, the best Spider-Man movie because just by far not. It's like it does so much so well about everything in terms of the characters, the story, animation. Like Stan Lee always used to say that anyone could. Well, he loved doing Spider-Man and having Spider-Man's character and having his face fully covered because he would say that I wanted any person reading this to be able to put themselves in Spider-Man's shoes, to get the idea that anyone could wear the mask. Now, Peter Parker would say that anyone could wear the mask, but Miles Morales is the first comic book character I feel that he proved it. Yes, he went out there, he's in the mask, and he's proven that, yes, you too can be Spider-Man.
Yeah. So awesome.
It's like, yo. So that for me, I put that as underrated. It deserves way more love than it gets a lot of love, don't get me wrong, but it deserves even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could test it.
Yeah, I
All
guess.
right. Next one, Spider-Man, Far From Home. Critic score 91%, audience score 95. A lot higher than I thought it was.
A lot higher.
Julian, what do you think, man?
I made a whole different category. I put mid. I made a mid category, bro.
So I would say like that you're saying. Oh wait, I would say like it's probably overrated. Then I would say because right now that's a good score. That's like pretty high. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be that high, to be honest. Far From
Exactly.
Home,
So I would say you think it's like it's more like overrated in that sense, because overrated basically just means that you don't agree with the audience score. It's like you think it's not as good as what people are saying it is.
all right. But yeah, my is so bad. I really don't like Far From Home. It didn't
Okay.
feel like a Spider-Man movie with him being in Europe and then him being an idiot giving the Tony Stark glasses to a dude that he met for how long? Like
A
two
couple
days,
days,
A
couple
couple days.
days,
less than
and
a week.
you gave him your the dude that you love so much stuff, and you gave it in. It's stupid. And then yeah, I just freaking hated Far From Home. I don't know. It's just kind of mid.
Okay. So you're like it's you feel like it doesn't deserve like the score that it got.
It really
It
does
should be
not.
less.
It should be a whole less. It should be like 40% at least, man.
Oh wow.
It's
Oh
so
dang.
bad.
All right, so that's for sure overrated for you. All right then. Jandy, what do you think, man?
For Spider-Man Far From Home, I'm also putting an overrated.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. It took Spider-Man out of the neighborhood.
It did, yeah.
You know, there is no friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in this movie.
No, because he's like in Europe.
He's in Europe, you know, and that alone, I'm like, it doesn't feel like a Spider-Man movie to me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
That's
I'm
fair.
like, can we get out of Europe already? Can we take it back to New York where you belong, dude?
I know.
You know, like it was like a globe-trotting adventure,
It was, yes.
you know, like a espionage shield, you know, adventure. You know, I'm like, this is not Spider-Man to me.
Mhm.
You know, and you know, Julian has a point. You know, the glasses that Tony Stark gave him. You're gonna give it to a dude you barely know.
Yeah.
You know, just for the plot, essentially. You know, we need a reason to get these glasses. How do we do that? You know
Yeah.
what I
You need
mean?
villains
Like,
too. My God.
like Peter Parker's not, and like I know I understand like he's young. There is a little bit of naive, but
Yeah.
not that naive. You know, give me a break. You know,
Okay.
like I honestly think that that was a super super
Irresponsible.
overrated film. I think it scored way too high. You know, it was just I like the Mysterio illusion part
It was pretty cool.
like that. Like that part's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, like you know, it didn't feel like a Spider-Man movie to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was very misplaced. If they started it, in Europe and then, it ended in New York, and then have like a final sequence in New York,
Yeah.
maybe would have, saved the movie for me a little bit,
Okay.
but I didn't know. I didn't like that the whole movie was not in New York at all. I think that that's like it. New York is a character in itself for Spider-Man.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think it's a super overrated film. I did not like it. I did not enjoy it. I came in there with some high hopes following Homecoming. So I figure, my expectations were a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I did not like this film at all. I don't watch it. I don't enjoy it. I'm like, it doesn't exist to me.
All right. Yeah, so I'm in the rank of putting it as properly rated. Yes, it is pretty high up, but it's coming off of the heels of Endgame, and I actually do feel like they actually did a pretty decent job, in my opinion, of showcasing Peter Parker's internal struggles. I think it's so funny to me that like in Homecoming, we see him like really eager to prove himself. He really wants to be an Avenger, and then he gets that in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. And then this one, he's like, on second thought, I think I'm just gonna go back to being like, Spider-Man. Just like I was like, I'm good here. I don't want to like. It's like it kind of reminds me of like those kids who are so eager to grow up, and when they finally get to be put in a scenario where they are in a grown-up scenario, and they're like, on second thought, actually being a kid's not that bad. Let me just enjoy my youth while I still got it. So I feel like that's kind of what I enjoyed about this movie is that it really sort of followed that trajectory for Peter, in the sense where he's like, I want to just enjoy being a kid. I just went through a really big life-threatening situation. I lost people I cared about. I just want to enjoy my life, my high school life while I still can. And so like I also like the fact that it did address the way it addressed the snap too with certain characters and things like that. It's a whole new world, a whole new like thing that we're dealing with. And I like that they call it the blip. And so
I
like
remember that.
there are things where I totally get what you guys are saying that like yeah no like Peter Parker was being really stupid. I can't even deny that there were parts where he was dumb for the sake of the plot. But even still, I do like the relationship and of him dealing with the loss of Tony Stark and him having to realize that he doesn't have to be the next Tony Stark. He just needs to be the best Spider-Man he can be. And then he makes his own suit that, granted, he uses Stark Tech to do it, but still, it's his own suit now. And he's going out and just taking on this villain. It's like through his own methods, and like you saw a little bit of like that mental block too, where his Peter Tingle wasn't really working that well, and so like I really wish they could have fleshed that a little bit more out or put more emphasis on the fact that he doesn't have the spider sense. But like even still, I think it's properly rated. I think it deserves like the score that it got because it was coming off of the heels of Endgame, and it was a good like palate cleanser from that movie, but like the follow up from that film, and that's like an issue in continuing his journey from Homecoming, at least to me, in my opinion, I think.
Okay.
Here we go. We're going through these guys. All right. Spider-Man, No Way Home. Critic score, 93%. Audience score, 97.
I put it
Wait.
as overrated.
Ooh, overrated.
Okay.
Okay.
Got a
What do you
couple.
think?
Okay, so when it first came out, the hype around No Way Home was crazy. I
It
remember
was.
watching it and seeing Andrew Toby. The whole theater was going crazy.
Oh, that's
Um,
yeah.
but besides that, it's a mid movie. The reason why I say that is No Way Home. No Way Home is a movie that was meant to reboot Tom Holland's movies. You're telling me right now that his third movie was meant to reboot him? It just knows that they kind of fucked up with Mysterio revealing he's Peter Parker. But yeah, kind of mid. I did like him going through his struggles, Aunt May dying and then having, MJ and Ned to forget about him, and then you kind of see him struggle towards the end. And yeah, I feel like the best part was the final swingsuit and him swinging in Rockefeller Center. That was peak. But yeah,
Fair enough. All right. What do you think, man?
So for me, for Spider-Man No Way Home, I'd put it in a properly rated.
Okay.
Okay. And for a couple reasons. I think that, you know, yes, the surprises were great in the film.
Yes.
It was definitely another love letter to Spider-Man as well. Like and the Spider-Man of the past, and also embracing Spider-Man of the future. You know what I mean? And the reason why, so I like that bringing back all the, like familiar villains.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, characters that you do like, you know what I mean? You get to see, Norman Osborn again, Willem Dafoe again. You
Yeah.
get to see Jamie Foxx again, in the classic Electro now. You get to see all these villains come back, Doc Ock, you get to see, all this stuff. And then you get to see, Toby and Andrew come back, and you get to see where they are in their lives.
Yeah.
It's almost like a spiritual sequel
To their film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we never got.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that you get to see what direction both Spider-Man, went.
Mm-hmm.
And as Julian said, it is kind of like a reboot, for Tom Holland Spider.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad, you know what I mean? Because
Yes.
because it brings Spider-Man back where he belongs,
Mhm.
and where we're used to Spider-Man being. That's why I didn't like Far From Home. It took him too far out of the way. And now this film, No Way Home brought Spider-Man back.
Yeah.
And everything kind of fell into place where you want Spider-Man to be. In other words, bringing back, the classic Spider-Man.
Yeah, I agree with Julian though. Like, it's very cool. This movie was a reaction to like the response that we had gotten from the previous films.
Yes.
So like Julian, I agree. This definitely was not the plan. The plan was not to reboot like Tom Holland's Spider-Man in his trilogy. Like when they were making Homecoming, that was not the plan. I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure that wasn't a plan, but I think that it was a way to kind of get him on track.
Yeah, like it's like all right, now we're gonna bring him back to where we all know him to be. He's the classic Spider-Man, classic red and blue suit in like a really rundown apartment.
Yes.
Friendly neighborhood Spider.
Yeah. So that I think that's what that's what I enjoyed about the film and also is also during the multiverse saga of the MCU. So of course they're gonna touch upon the multiverse itself.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool the way they handled it. I thought it was, interesting the way they handled it. And it still felt like an MCU film.
Yes.
So I'm just glad that that this film was made the way it was and just to get Spider-Man where he needs to be. And then that now set up the events a brand new day, and now we can get classic Spider-Man stories within the MCU.
Yes. For me, I agree with Julian. I also put in the overrated camp for me. So part of this thing, you mentioned it too in the previous film about how like Spider-Man has to be stupid for the plot to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I really dislike the beginning part because it has Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, two of the smartest characters in the MCU, acting like complete and total idiots. Like, you mean to tell me he couldn't just tell them, let's just stop the spell real quick. Let's just write it down what you want me to do so I'm not trying to change this mid-spell? Like, you couldn't have just suggested that and then we didn't mess up? Also, like, how is it that him erasing people's minds affects the entire multiverse? Like, you mean to tell me, Doctor Strange, you were willing to just mess with the multiverse just to help out this guy? Thank God you're not the Sorcerer Supreme anymore. You are very reckless with magic, man.
He is reckless. But I think that's also part of his arrogance.
Arrogance, yeah, I agree with that. But at the same time, it doesn't take away the fact that like you're too smart to be making this stupid of a mistake. Same thing with you, Speeder. Like it's like, come on, man. And like so, like I love how we got there with like the Spider-Men coming together. Like, and I love the fact that you say that, like, yeah, like we get to see like where they're at, like a glimpse of where these Spider-Men are at, and the fact that they're so much older than Tom's Spider-Man, they get to see this version. They're like, we see where you're at, we see that you're hurting, and we've been there before, man. And we don't want to make sure you don't make the same mistakes that we did.
Yeah,
we want to make sure you're on the right path. And I love the fact that coming from the previous Spider-Man, it means so much more. So, like, I love those scenes. That scene where they're also just, like, talking to each other about the previous villains and stuff with other movies. Yeah. I love that. So I love what we got from, from the spell and everything like that. I just hate the road getting there. The road getting there basically was, like, having the two smartest characters act like idiots. And also, we really kind of were dunking on Doctor Strange in this movie. Yeah. Like, how does Peter beat Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension?
Yeah, there's no way.
How do you...
with Matt.
Yeah, it's like, well, get out of here.
It's in your own like universe. Is it's in your power. Like you could destroy Peter, but
like I know Peter's smart, but like, come on, like this is your world, man.
Exactly.
The only detail I like though is when Doctor Strange knocked him in his astro form.
Yeah.
And the spider sense still worked.
Yes, I actually kind of like
sick.
I like that. I was not against that because I like the fact that even though Peter wasn't physically inside his body at that moment, the spider sense was still working.
Yeah.
I thought was cool.
That was sick.
Yeah. And it's like, and we could just see the tickle on his hair. Like that was cool. Actually, and that's something like that makes sense. Like, all right, I get that. But you beating him in the mirror dimension, no.
Yeah, that was
They could have done a different way of
yeah,
a lot of stuff with Doctor Strange.
Yeah, like I feel bad with Doctor Strange. Like if you were a Doctor Strange fan, I'm so sorry. This movie, like, kind of shit on your favorite character there.
Yeah, I agree.
But like, even still, I think this is overrated because I feel like a lot of people like are singing this movie's praises because of all the good parts that happen. The fact that like the parts with the other Spider-Man, the final swing, and it's like we finally got Spider-Man back to where we are. Like I get it. The movie ends with you feeling really good about Spider-Man where it's going. But just the beginning part was bad.
I also think that, because it's part of the multiverse saga, there's perks to the multiverse, but the multiverse is like also against it as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that also played a part into it too. Like, like people were just over multiverse.
And I don't know if they were older with multiverse just yet, because I think like people really did love this movie for that aspect of having it. I feel like in a couple of years, like once we got to like Deadpool, Wolverine, even though people like that movie, I think people were kind of done with multiverse. Even Deadpool said that in that movie that like It's like, let's just take the L. This didn't work out the way we thought it was.
Yeah, it's time to move on.
Yeah, it's like let's move away from this. And it's like, yes, I agree. The last theatrically released Spider-Man film was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Critic score 95%, audience score 95%. So this is they're both. This is the only I think it's the only Spider-Man movie where both the audience and the critic score are like in agreement.
In agreement.
All right,
Put
so
it-
Julian, what we think?
I put it as properly rated. You're
Properly
telling
rated?
me you made a unknown Spider-Man villain. I had no idea who the Spot was.
Yeah.
Did you guys knew who the Spot
No.
was before watching it?
In the animated series,
I mean, yeah, he was in the animated series, but I really didn't like know him.
no.
Yeah, but they turn him like menacing. Like he's crazy. He's mad strong for no reason. And then the freaking plot twist at the end. Me watching that, I was like, "Yo, I need more." Yeah, it was freaking peak. I feel like there's no flaws in Across also, but yeah, I can't wait for the third one.
That if they managed to pull that off, that would be the greatest Spider-Man trilogy ever.
Yeah.
Oh god. So, all right, anything on to add, Julian? Like anything like?
Oh, got something to add. I said there's no flaws, but there's like one. I hate
What?
Indian Spider-Man so much. The
Really?
You hate the what?
The Indian Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
the chai tea joke.
I
Nobody.
love that joke.
It's so bad. Yeah, I didn't.
It's cringy, and that's why I love it.
But I like Spider-Punk, Gwen, like all the other supporting cast. But
Spider-Punk.
Spider-Punk, he's peak. Yeah, but yes, Indian Spider-Man is not. It's not hitting.
You weren't feeling Indian Spider-Man?
Nah. This is me not being racist, by the way. Just gotta
No,
add
no,
that.
no.
There's no racism. No racism.
No,
All right.
it's not because he's Indian.
Yeah.
Oh God.
All right, what do you think, man?
I put Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse as properly rated as well. A lot of my lists properly rated.
Yeah,
But
I'm in agreement with most of like the people what they say about it.
yeah, I'm definitely in agreement. Basically it's on par with the first film. They tried some new animation stuff.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed. Soundtrack was also great.
Oh yeah.
Metro
You know?
Boomin? Hello? That was
Yeah,
peak.
like
Metro Boomin?
that was sick, and Twist was great. And I love the idea of the spider itself.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen like a Spider-Man movie where the spider itself is a pivotal character.
Yes.
Normally in Spider-Man movies, it's just an event.
Yeah, it's
You know what
just
I mean?
the
Something
thing that gives him his powers. Yeah.
Right. That spider is a character in itself.
Mhm.
And it's very impactful that led to that twist.
Yes.
And it's very interesting. So I would say that it's properly rated. It's fun, I liked Miguel O'Hara. It's kind of like a pseudo antagonist.
Yeah, like when you get where he's coming from.
But you get where he's coming from. Like Miles Morales becoming an anomaly,
Mm-hmm.
essentially anomaly amongst the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, like he wasn't the spider that bit him was not supposed to bite him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like that's a crazy concept
Mhm.
that was touched upon that I never really thought of before.
Yeah.
It
It also would explain why the spider was like, glitching or in the first film.
Yes.
Because he's not from that universe.
Right. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
And Fabio had a point, like, when this third film comes out, it's gonna be
could be.
technically it will be the best Spider-Man trilogy.
It will.
You could argue one of the best trilogies in general.
But if it pulls it off, if it pulls off a good ending, oh,
Yeah.
please don't fumble. Please don't fumble.
Best Marvel trilogy. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you can argue that.
Yeah, that could be a strong argument. If it's good, it could be a very strong argument being the best trilogy.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna go with properly.
Childish Gambino as Prowler. Finally,
Yeah, that was cool too.
Yeah,
I would love to see that in live action, actually.
What, him as a Prowler?
Yeah, like in film, like later on, like not just that little cameo, but like in film,
I'd be pretty down for that. Yes,
which they can do.
they could do that because he did show up in Homecoming.
Right.
Miles
So
is in the MCU.
They did confirm Miles does
technically.
exist in
Miles does
in the
exist.
MCU.
Yeah. So I think so they can do that.
They could do that. They could do that. And I know Tom Holland definitely. We're getting a little off track, but real quick, Tom Holland has said that he would love to be like a mentor. He would love to be the mentor figure for like the Miles Morales Spider-Man.
I hope
And it's like he like basically I'll get to be to that kid what Tony Stark / Robert Downey Jr. was to me. And I'm like, and that's what we want to see.
Yeah, I would love to see that happen
Yes.
too.
So, anyways, so in Across the Spider-Verse, I also put it in properly rated. It definitely deserves its flowers. It does such a good job following up on the first one. And I think it's the fact that there's so many things you can like look into this film and so many things you can really take away because it really does feel like when Miles first came out back in like I think 2011 was around that time, and so many people were against it. And like they were saying like you shouldn't be Spider-Man, you're not my Spider-Man. It's like you don't deserve this title, things like that. That's like people were being like really, really like against Miles Morales, and I feel like this movie took inspiration from that audience backlash and injected it into this film saying that like, yeah, no, this Spider-Man wasn't supposed to exist. He's not supposed to be Spider-Man, but he is. And it's like, you can't take that away from him. Like, you may feel like he doesn't deserve this or shouldn't be here, but he's here. He is Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's here to stay.
Yes, and like I really do love like all the new characters that we injected. Even Spider-Man, it's like Indian Spider-Man. I thought he was a really funny character.
Yeah, I thought so too. It was funny.
Yeah. And like Spider-Punk though, like Spider-Punk dude, like he's such a cool character, man. Like I love him. I love he was kind of like a big brother figure
Yes.
to Miles, helping him out. I thought when he was introduced, I thought he was gonna be like a romantic rival with Miles, like to Gwen, but nah, he doesn't care about that. Like it's like, yeah, he likes Gwen, but like as a friend, like it's like he's not interested in anything like that. And it's like, but I love the fact that he was like helping out Miles too a bit, and like, yo, dude just showed up and basically like taught Miles kind of break free, helped him break free. He was like, all right, just for the record, I quit. And then he bounces. It's so like that was so funny that he shows up, he made it, and like all those little things he was picking at while they were going, he was taking that to make his own like a watch.
Yeah.
And it's like those little things you don't realize the first time you watch it. And like, yo, for sure, one of my favorite characters. I can't wait to see us go into his world because they already confirmed in the next one we're going into Spider-Punk's world.
That's awesome.
And it's like, oh, I can't wait. That's gonna be a bitch to animate.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But it's like I can see why it's taking them so long.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So like, oh man, yo, and so like also the twist that was super sick, and I love the fact that like I'm hoping this happens. I'm hoping that Prowler, Miles, and our Miles team up. Like I'm hoping they
That's
become
probably
like
gonna happen.
I feel like that's gonna happen.
Probably.
Like it's like he for sure is gonna escape. He's gonna do the whole like what like don't watch the mouth, watch the hands, and escape from like the chains.
I can see that.
And then he's gonna basically they're gonna like team up. And then, you know what I think of? You guys see Boondocks?
Yeah.
Huey and Riley.
Right.
That's the dynamic I want for those two.
That would
Where
be
Miles
pretty
is Huey and
That would be pretty
and
funny.
Prowler is Riley.
Yeah.
It's like
I'll be down for that. I would totally be down for
like I would love
Yeah.
to see that. I want to see the dynamic between those two.
that. Definitely, man.
All right.
Alright.
So now we are going into our ranking system. So now we went through our the overrated, underrated, overhated, properly rated. Now we're gonna talk about from worst to best.
Worst
All
and
right.
best. Joey, you want to
I'll
kick
hit
it off?
All right,
Yeah,
what's
I'll hit
your
it off.
worst? We're gonna do like this. We'll go from worst. We'll start with our worst, then we'll just go from there.
All right. So
what's your
just say-
list?
What's-
just say my list? All right. So at
What do
10,
you think of worst? Number 10. What's the worst one?
Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3. Oh, okay.
9, Far From Home. 8, Spider-Man 2. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Andrews. 7, No Way Home. 6, Homecoming. 5, the first Andrew movie. 4th, first Toby. 3rd, Spider-Man 2, the second Toby. 2nd, Across the Spider-Verse, and first Into the Spider-Verse.
Great
It's
list.
close. Nice. All right.
Ours started off kind of similar.
Yes.
Okay. So for number 10, Spider-Man 3,
All right.
because, that expectations, I had my expectations too high.
Yeah,
So I was a little disappointed. So number 10, Spider-Man 3. Number 9, Spider-Man Far From Home. Number
Wow.
8, yep. Number 8, The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Number 7, The Amazing Spider-Man. Number 6, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 5, Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 4, Spider-Man Tobey Maguire. Number 3, Spider-Man 2. number one Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and number one Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, you put a cross above Into.
Above.
We got
Okay.
similar
Yes.
lists.
Yeah, it's similar.
Pretty
Yeah,
similar.
it's
Pretty
similar. Yeah, it's
Pretty
similar.
similar.
Yeah, I put a cross as one just because
Wow.
of the twist and like they built upon
What they
the
did in the first one. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Normally like I don't expect that with sequels.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I feel like they built upon it and they expanded that mythology a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
They got really creative with it. So that's why I put it at number one.
Wow. Okay. All right. I can't disagree with that. All right. So for me, number 10, I put The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's like one of the ones that I actually feel like this is not that good of a movie. Yeah, there's good parts in it, but as a whole, I don't think it was that good of a movie. Number 9, Spider-Man 3. Number 8, Spider-Man Far From Home. Number 7, Spider-Man. Number 6, The Amazing Spider-Man. Number 5, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 4, Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 3, Spider-Man 2. And then number 2, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And number 1, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Nice.
Okay.
Wow, I got different lists here.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, cool guys. So like we're maybe want to do like some final theories, what we think or what we want to expect to hopefully see in Brand New Day, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
All right,
Good, Joe.
good.
So with Brand New Day, I think. Oh my god. Well, I think Hulk is gonna play like a lizard type of dude, like Dr. Connors type of guy. But I want Spider-Man to die. I want Tom Holland to die, but he's gonna come back. There's a reason why he's not in Doomsday because he's dead. He's gonna come back in Secret Wars with the black suit, and reportedly, when after we finish the X-Men episode, it was reported that he's gonna fight Andrew and Tom in Secret Wars. So I got him dying, getting a black suit, fighting both Spider-Mans, and then you know what? I'm not surprised if Ned or MJ dies in this one. But yeah, it's gonna be. I personally think it's gonna be the best live action Spider-Man movie, just solely off the trailers, because it looks like it's straight from a comic book. But yeah, has a lot of hype to it too, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna kill off either MJ or maybe Ned. I don't think they'll kill off MJ simply because Zendaya is way too popular of an actor to kill off.
Very popular now.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they don't. I don't know if you guys seen Fantastic Beasts or not, but like at the end of that movie, there was like a mind erasing spell which like really erased everyone's minds. And in the second one, one of the characters who was involved in all of that had his mind erased. He just says like, "Oh, the spell didn't work on me. I remember you guys. Don't do that. Please don't do that with these characters. No, they do not remember who he is."
I'll
Yes,
say that it's
stick
gonna
that.
happen with Jean Grey. The same thing that you said. I think Jean Grey is gonna remember, just because of the trailers too, knowing that Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Well, I'm okay if she knows that Spider-Man's Peter Parker if she uses her mind control power. Not that she remembers that he's Peter Parker, but she just like happens like she's like using her mind control powers or telepathy and figures that out.
Yeah.
Like I'm cool with that. If it is Jean Grey, yeah, I don't know. I'm still on the fence on that. I'm not sure if it's her or not. It probably is.
Yeah.
And like I'm excited to see. I'm thinking like if yeah, it's like with like when you see him getting his black eyes and see him like getting like more ferocious and stuff. I think I'm hoping that we do end up getting Black Suit Spider-Man, and and we do if we do see him die, that'd be pretty sick because they could set up that comic where he like is coming out from the grave. That could be like the next setup, or it could be a post-credit scene or something like that.
Mhm.
It's like so that we know whether he's gonna have the black suit come like when we see him in Doomsday.
You gotta remember the symbiote is still in the MCU with No Way Home. When Venom got back to his universe, there's a piece of the symbiote still there.
They retconned that though.
Yeah, in Venom 2.
Venom,
In Venom
I
2.
forgot about that shit.
Oh, Venom 3. I'm sorry, Venom 3.
Venom 3.
Venom 3. Yeah, Venom 3. They came back and got that.
Never mind then.
Or
Yeah.
I don't know. That movie it wasn't too well received. Maybe they could just
Maybe they'll retcon it again.
I was like, you know what? That movie was dumb. We're sorry. Okay, we're just gonna undo that. It's still there. We can maybe use it now. I don't know. But
The only thing
I
I'm
don't know. So
afraid
like,
of is it being bad because there's a lot of shit in Brand New Day. There's so much villains and so many side characters, and you
yeah,
could do you to have that like in how long is the movie? Like 2 hours, like somewhere around there or
It's
an
like
hour,
I think it's like 2.5.
like 2.5 hours.
2.5. Like
That's like the runtime now. I think. Yeah.
yeah, hopefully they don't mess it up because there's a lot of people in it.
It's gonna be a juggling act. That's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, man. What do you think? What are you looking forward to?
So I hope that Brand New Day, is the best, Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. I really hope that. It seems like very straight out of the comic books.
Yeah.
I hope that they don't make the same mistake as the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
I, I hope that, with too many
Storylines.
too many storylines, I hope that that it doesn't get, I hope they still commit to like the storyline of his metamorphosis or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
That's like the meat and potatoes of the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
For all we know, the villain is Spider-Man himself,
Maybe.
because of whatever's happening to him, his metamorphosis.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to fully commit to the Man Spider storyline.
I don't know. That might give some kid nightmares.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that might freak a kid out, if they go that approach, but I'm all for it if they do.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like,
100%. I'm an adult. I'm not gonna get scared.
I'm all for it if they do, even in the Spider-Man animated series, the Punisher was involved, so it makes sense why the Punisher would be there.
Yes. I'm excited to see him interact. And of course, I'm excited to see Daredevil. He's in the movie. They haven't confirmed, but he's in it.
Yeah, it has to be.
Nah, he has to be in it. He has to
It's like
be.
he's fighting the hand. Come on.
Yeah, I think out of all the characters, is where's the hands involvement in the
And
story?
please-
Yeah, that's the one villain group that I'm curious is like, where do you fit into all this?
Yeah, like where do you come into play? So that I'm very curious about. The marketing's great because it raises questions.
Sure. And I like the fact that Sony's not revealing too much. Granted, they did reveal Hulk is back, which we already kind of knew that.
Yes.
That's like, but they haven't. They're trying to keep some things under wraps. I don't feel like no one can really fully pinpoint what's the storyline. It's all just theories.
There's also a TV spot. Also, it looked like Bruce Banner is Smart Hulk and then turns into Savage Hulk.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's interesting.
And I don't know if
Like-
you saw it, Punisher and Spider-Man teaming up on Hulk. That they did this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's gonna be peak. But oh my god, what was I about to say? That please somebody explain why Peter Parker or Spider-Man has not been in New York when there's a lot of shit happening in New York with Thunderbolts with the Void shit. You got Daredevil
They
season
could-
2.
Wait.
You got
Oh, sorry. Google. Keep on. I remember something. Google.
you got Daredevil season 2 with Kingpin and the what's it called the army that's like against vigilantes.
Anti-vigilante task force. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever they are,
Yeah.
basically harassing a whole bunch of people, and yeah, there's a lot of shit happening in New York. Where are you, Peter? You've been depressed for 4 years. Wait, how long has it been? Like,
It's been 4
he's a
years.
senior in college, so
4
like,
years. Basically, he's like in his last semester of college. So
Yeah.
exactly. So you gotta lock in, bro.
Yeah. Oh God, what's her name? Florence Pugh's character.
Yelena.
Yelena. Thank you. She's in this movie.
She is.
They confirmed that she's in this
Yes,
movie, so I'm hoping
she is.
if she like, what if she just ran up like, yo, where the hell were you when all that shit was going down, man?
They can solve this problem if they do like a montage of him saving people during the events of Thunderbolts.
If they do that, like if
They can do that.
like if they do show like all that stuff, he was there when all that stuff was happening, but he was kind of busy doing his own stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully they explain Daredevil too, because Daredevil was in New York City. That was a huge. Same with Punisher too.
Yeah, like it's like we're
And
how you not involved?
Yeah, Jude, you saw the one, the Punisher special. It was like hell. In where was it? I forgot where it was in New York, but it was like
Looked like
hell.
Harlem.
Yeah, you didn't show up. Like,
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they do that. Hoping they can explain away, like you said, like in a montage or something. That'd be pretty sick if they could do that, because then that would be because it would answer your concerns too, Julian. I'm sure other people have concerns too. Like Spider-Man, you were in New York. all this crazy stuff is happening in New York. Where are you?
Yeah, I have a feeling they're gonna do that. I have a feeling they're gonna do a montage of the past 4 years of the moments that he was saving people and stuff like that. And be
Yeah.
like, oh, that's the moment from Thunderbolts. Oh, okay, you know what I mean?
By
Like,
the,
I have a feeling they're gonna do something
by
like
the
that.
way,
Just
bro has been stalking MJ for like 5 years now, and now you're gonna do something right now, like towards the end of your college years, like dude, and Ned too. You've been stalking Ned too. Like what? Like
I
bro.
don't know. It's gonna be weird, but
I mean, I imagine something's gonna happen to like kickstart. He's probably like kind of just watching them from afar, and I imagine something's gonna happen in this movie that's gonna like propel him to get like involved in that. Because remember, there's a part where he had to take MJ away, was asking Punisher to like keep watch over her, please keep her safe. Like, there's no one else I can really like turn to right now.
yeah.
And so like I feel like something's going to involve MJ that forces him to have to interact with them again.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, like, when we watch this movie, like, when is Frank and Peter already acquainted?
I think they're gonna have to establish the fact that they've already met beforehand.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I'm curious how, like, again, there's a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions.
In Daredevil season 1, Kingpin did mention Spider-Man, Punisher, and Daredevil, so they probably all know each other.
Punisher, or he mentioned in Born Again.
You mean Born Again, right? You talking about Born Again?
Born
Yeah,
Again.
Born Again.
He mentioned Spider-Man and Punisher.
Yeah,
he did.
So they probably do know each other.
They've crossed paths at some point.
100% they probably have. But yeah, Daredevil's gonna look sick though. He's gonna have his prison outfit. I don't know if you've seen the comic book of his prison outfit. Yeah, it's gonna be sick. The action is gonna be peak too.
Yeah, actually, definitely.
Oh heck yeah!
Definitely reminds me a lot of Insomniacs.
Yes, the way he's moving. Oh yeah, I can't wait.
There's a lot of recreations.
Yes. So all right. So that's basically that wraps this up, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow us on all of our social media platforms.
Turn on notifications on.
Yes,
definitely.
All right.
Okay,
so thank
guys.
you guys. We'll answer those questions at the end of this video. Get a discussion going at the bottom. Thank you so much. We will see you guys next time.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
All right.